What's up, Buttercup? I'm Pam Barnes, marketing expert.
And I'm Hannah Cox, business strategist.
And this is the Go Getter Gals podcast,
where everyday gals grow together and you'll find resources to help you grow personally and professionally.
Hello, gals.
Hi. Hey.
So you have made it to the Go Getter Gals podcast, where it is everyday gals growing together. And I've got Miss Sharonica Chambers here, and she is a fellow Go Getter Gals from the Wiregrass area. You want to say hey?
Hi, everyone.
So we are going to be interviewing her today. And again, it's just everyday gals growing together. And I cannot wait to hear more about this beautiful woman. I met her probably, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
And we have been each other's like biggest cheerleaders. And come to think of it, man, competition isn't like the best thing in the world, right? But when it comes to Sharonica and me, like when she's got amazing things going on in her life, I'm like, all right, let's go. What can I do? Do what?
I said that someone has to slow us down.
Yes, ma'am. We are go-getter gals.
Yes, we are. So I am glad to be here.
Well, do you want to tell everyone who you are and what you do?
I sure will. So I'm Sharonica Chambers. I am a licensed real estate broker and an owner of Agape Real Estate Inc. I service Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, and able to sell real estate internationally. Right now, we're at 6 countries and hopefully growing. So that is what I do full time. All type of leadership activities. Working queen is what I like to look at myself as, but in business, real estate broker.
Nice. So how beneficial do you think it is to be able to be part of the community when you have a business?
This is very, very intricate to how my success has grown exponentially. I want to say I got with you ladies, maybe my business might have been 6 months old, maybe. Mm-hmm. And so that was very, very early on. And when you're a new business owner, and especially when you don't plan it, there's a lot of things that you don't know that you need. And a group of women, and most our other business owners as well, was certainly something that has kind of solidified my mindset about what I'm doing and kept me on the go.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So you actually just answered the first question that I had for you, which was, what's been the biggest impact of being part of a women's networking group like Go Getter Gals?
Absolutely. Because up till recently, business has been typically a man's world. And so, and even how I move around, unless I'm moving in a women's networking group, more times than not, I'm surrounded by men. And so, there are some things that we do similar, but even how women see things in business is not the same. And so I found it to be, I did not realize it, but I found it important after joining you ladies that, I need to be around women business owners to have a more balanced, I feel like, view of being a woman in business. So I don't want to be too hard, but I don't want to be like a rubber band either and everybody run all over you. Makes me think about Judge Judy. I was watching. It's crazy because if everybody knows her, you don't think anybody likes her, right? She seems mean. Mm-hmm. But she was like one of the top 10 respected women in business. And her thing was she believed that you could be liked and respected in business. And I thought that was a lot coming from her, considering she's kind of, when you see her, but I believe that I believe that once I heard her say that, now that kind of opened up my mind to seeing where I just didn't have that type of vision before. Most women, when they're in position, we feel like we have to be a little more firm and more hard for people to take us serious. Mm-hmm. And you do want to mean business when you're talking, but that doesn't mean you have to necessarily put on a hard exterior.
Yeah, I like that. Yes, we still have our feminine nature, but
right.
When we have to be in that dominant field, because you can't be a rubber band, as you said, and be in business. It just doesn't work that way.
And I don't know why that analogy is stuck in my mind.
Right.
I'm like, flimsy.
Right. Well, also too, as business owners and business leaders, we're talking about business owners, but business leaders, there's a lot of women in executive roles. There's quite a few. There's more now than what there was before. And it's the same thing. Like you have to You have to remind yourself that you are a woman. And I think it's really important, like you said, to be surrounded by other women, to remind yourself that you don't have to be tough all the time, because sometimes we put that face on. We're like, we got to be 100% all the time.
That's
And
right.
men aren't even that way. So we need to stop doing that.
That's right. And listen, you throw some hormones on top of that, and we just pass the men. They're like, I don't want to be around her. I don't want to be that way. It makes me when I worked in healthcare. I mean, we when we knew we were getting new doctors or a new doctor, we'd be excited. But the moment we found out it was a woman, we're all women. We're like, God, because we know what women feel like they have to put on in order to be in charge, which they overkill the leadership, and then instead of you being able to lead, it's more off-putting. And so that's where the balance again. If you're around other leading women, I think that's where you stay in touch with the feminine side of who you are, and you just can kind of adapt and adopt different ways that other women are in business, and can still stay balanced as a woman but still be taken seriously.
I like that. I like that. You know, one of my favorite books I've read, which I'm going to read it again, it's Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. She's like one of my favorite people when it comes to vulnerability, talking about vulnerability and being a leader. And she's definitely, you know, I cry at the drop of a hat. She is the total opposite of me, which I love that. Well, at least from what I could see. I do see her
Right.
change on her talk. So, anyways, okay. Well, we talked about that. Let's go ahead and do something fun.
Okay.
Take it down a couple of notches, because sometimes we can be too serious, right? What's 3 words that you define yourself as? Like, who are you in 3 words?
I don't want this to sound cliche, but it will completely stamp while I'm here. Why I'm here is I am a go-getter gal. Whatever it is, if I decide I want it, I might not know how I'm going to obtain it. And I don't decide that I want a lot of things because it's just in me. Because if I decide I want it, I'm gonna get it. And I don't have quit in me. I play sports. And so even I look at myself from that standpoint, I got to where I didn't like my basketball coach, but I refused to quit because I just didn't want to quit. Even my daughter, we tried something that she did basketball, but I wanted her to be a little more well-rounded. So we tried T-ball. No, but T-ball was softball. She was a little bit older. And she was fine with signing up, but in this area is so serious that my baby was not excited about doing it after the first practice. But God bless it, I could not let her quit. And so it forced me and her it would be like 7 o'clock at night and she's like 10 and it's 45 degrees out there and they are still practicing. And I'm like, this is miserable. I can't sit in my car because I've got her out there in the cold, but we can't quit. So, I mean, if I start something, I have to stick with it. I just have to. And so if I decide I'm going to do something, I won't quit. And so that's why I see myself as a go-getter. Because I'll get up and go get it.
I love that.
Never had anything given to me. Never. And I don't mind going and getting it. It doesn't bother me a bit.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so here's another fun one. What's the most ridiculous thing you did as a kid and got away with? And we're not talking jail time, okay? We're just talking great.
I get away with. I'll be honest, I'm a horrible liar. So I didn't really do a whole lot. But the things that I did do, I did not get away with. Like even without social media and all that stuff, I did not get away with it. And I think because I wasn't a good liar, and then my father is a military gentleman, I just didn't want any. It's just like, let's just not, and let's just do right. Because apparently we can't lie well, and we get caught when we're doing things that we shouldn't do. I think about the funniest thing that I did not think I was going to get caught for. I was in high school and I had a guy friend. And at the time I was living with my dad. I don't even know why I tried it living with him. Well, he decides to pick me up, and I told my dad we were going bowling, but I didn't know where we were. And this is in Atlanta, so there's a whole lot to get into as a teenager. And well, he decided I probably shouldn't have, and I had a drink or two. And so we decided and I always thought that I could hang with the boys. So we had this race to see who could finish drinking their Coca-Cola 20-ounce bottle that had half of some type of dark alcohol. I don't even remember, but I mean, that's how crazy. I don't seem like I would go that far, but when I was younger, Don't
Right.
dare. And I think I can hang with the boys. So anyway, he was like, well, let's see who can drink it the fastest. So we sit in his car at a park and we chug this thing, and I still lost. But about 30 seconds later, I got so sick. Now, mind you,
Mm.
I'm living with my military father. My mom's not at the house. And I got so sick, he had to get me to a gas station. He had to walk me into the stall. And I was in there just as throwing up and spinning. And then when I could calm down, I still couldn't go anywhere, but I knew I needed to call my dad and tell him I was okay because by now I should have been at home. And so we finally got my brother, my younger brother, and he's like, Sharonica, you better get home. Dad is out looking for you. My military father is out looking for me. So he finally gets me out of the stall and gets me home. And he walks me in, and he was going to stay because he didn't want my dad to think that he had done anything to me. And my brother was like, I don't think that's a good idea. And that's all he had to tell me. He was like, I'm going home. And he left. So I sat down. Some said, there's no need of laying down in the bed. You might as well sit right here in the living room till he gets back. He got me so good. I didn't get a whooping. I was 15. And he said, I tell you what, I'm taking you to your mom. My mom worked at night at a nursing home. He took me to her about 1 o'clock in the morning. And I had to sit with her, but she let me sit in her car. And I had to sit in there and sleep off the rest of that hangover that I had from trying to hang out with my friends. But I thought I would lie to him and tell him that we went bowling and I got sick from the smoke in the bowling alley. That was dumb. I probably could have came up with something better, which is why I don't do a whole lot. I'm not good at
Oh
it.
my goodness.
Teenage years a little more rambunctious. I was pretty good when I was younger, but that was probably the wildest, dumbest thing that I thought that I could do and get away with. It didn't work.
Goodness. That's why I love this podcast. It's just everyday gals growing together. Life is just a journey, and you find yourself in that journey. And we all have those fun little stories. I was telling you earlier that I put a screw in my mom's tire because I was trying not to go to school. And I didn't even mean to. I was trying to get the bus, and it didn't get the bus, or it may have, and I didn't know about it, but she didn't find out until I was 30. So, and I do not do what?
I said, see, you didn't get caught. You actually got a chance to tell what you did.
Yeah, my brother, we stuck together, thieves on that one, and we didn't have the best relationship growing up. We were at each other's throats, not literally, but we had the sibling rivalry. It wasn't, yeah. But anyways, so it's just kind of interesting. And I had my drinking stages too. Like, we're not perfect, and
No,
we got to have a
especially
little
in
fun
high
here.
school.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was this insecure little girl that just wanted to make friends, and I would make friends any way that I possibly could sometimes. Right. Yeah. It's life. I mean, and I don't think you did it all. I think it's just we are on the journey to find who we are. And sometimes some of us, I tell my friends all the time that have kids, I'm like, sometimes some of us have to get smacked in the face. I was one of those. I did not listen and I did not learn by other people's experiences. I had to learn from my own.
Kids do. You have some that are just all the way in the box. I was until I got in high school. And about 10th grade, I would try it here or there.
Right. Okay. So let's get back to business. What is one thing that you wish you would have known or someone would have told you when it came to starting your business?
That is a very good question. What I would say, put your systems in place first,
Mm.
sooner than later. That is very important that I've learned 3 years later.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's like I wish I would have had that in place because things actually my business would be a lot further along and it's manageable, but it would be bigger and manageable. I think as if I'm not already doing enough, I could probably manage to do more, which I am working on now. But that's if there was anything that I'm thinking about, I thought I needed a business degree, but then I've talked to people that tell me they got a business degree or they know people that have gotten a business degree and it didn't help them and they actually tried to do business and they still couldn't do it. So I thought that would be something that I should have done or had. But I found from talking to people who didn't have and who did have business degrees that they thought, no, that you don't really, and it's just some of it's experience and planning, but ultimately I will hands down say systems. And
Mm.
process. Systems and processes. Systems and
Some
processes.
processes. Yeah, I need to work on that myself. I am a single entrepreneur and I'm looking at hiring somebody and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, how in the world am I going to tell these people what I'm doing?
And let them jump in where I built what I built, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it too. I think one of
Me too.
mine that I'm learning now, and I'd love to hear your intake on this one. Or yeah, is that the right word? I don't know. Anyways, I'm a southern, I'm a southern girl from Lynchburg, Tennessee. Don't mind me.
That's all right.
So, so my thoughts
Hey.
on, well, I done lost it. Where'd it go? Okay. Valuing your time. So I'm a very,
Value.
yes. So that's one thing that I wish I would have learned a little bit before, because I taught myself everything that I know, everything. And when you mentioned education, that really got to, like, that hit a nerve, because I'm like, I felt exactly the same way. Like, I taught myself everything I know. How do I know that I'm worthy enough to be able to teach anybody anything? Like, this took me 3 years to hurdle through. And then the next hurdle is, I taught myself everything I know, and I was giving and giving and giving and giving and giving because I love to help, right? I love to help. I mean, me and you and Hannah had a conversation the other day, and what we were out there for 20 minutes. I was talking about SEO. Like,
I was like, he was like, I'm gonna give you all this for free. And I was like, yeah, you just like me.
yep. But anyways, like, I need to learn more about valuing my time. I've caught myself here lately asking myself, is me having this conversation with this person right now about this particular topic helping me or hurting me?
Mm.
And I'm like, I'm like, is this valuable for my time or not? That's a hard pill to swallow for someone that loves to give and loves to help. So I'm still working on this one. And most of the time I say yes, it's worth my time.
Well,
But I would like to be able to have someone on here that has succeeded with that. And I would like to hear your points on this, because I feel like you're a little ahead of the game when it comes to that, for valuing the time, but I don't know. So tell us what you think.
first, I thank you for thinking so much of me. But the truth is, no, I don't have it either. I actually just adopted that mindset.
Mm,
I realized actually more recently, yeah, literally like maybe 2 weeks ago, that soon or that fresh, I realized, like you said, because you're only one person and there's only 24 hours in a day. And what I realized that I had a habit of doing, because I'm a helper, I can't stand to see anyone struggle, right? And
mm,
more times than not, especially in the industry that I'm in, there are not a lot of helpers. And so I wanted to pride myself on being a helper. I think it made more sense on the agent side, which is, and it allowed me to just be who I am. But now I'm in business and there are people that actually pay me to help them. And when I look at me helping other people that are in the same field as the people that work with me, and they're not giving anything, but there are people that are giving according to the business for what I'm giving them. Now I'm not being fair to the people that have actually chosen to work with me. People outside my
mm,
house should not get what people in the house get. And mostly it's not, because then it takes away from me
mm,
and leaves less time for me to give to them, and they've committed to me with their their loyalty and business, and then also on a monetary standpoint. And so I started looking at that, and then also looking at the return I was getting from the people that were not what I call in my house that I'm helping. And I don't mind helping anybody, but I'm helping them in my business. Now, if it's
mm,
someone that needs a ride, or a child that needs a ride to school or something, that's different. But when it comes to the business that I have to maintain, and it took a while, people had to beat that in me, but this is the end result, and how I finally came around to, you start a business to make money. And that was hard for me to accept because of my passion around what I do. Of course, I have to make a living, so I'm not doing it for that purpose. But when you create a business, if you don't run it that way, then that platform for you to be able to do that how you want to do it won't be there. And so then that takes away your freedom. Now you got to go adopt other people's views and how they want you to do business. And I just don't want to do that. So I had to make the decision that, okay, well then, one, we have to stop giving ourselves to people who haven't committed to us and give that time and energy to people who have committed to you. And then also realizing, when you talk to people, if they're struggling with what you're not struggling with, that's automatic value that you bring. It doesn't matter how great it is, even what we're talking about now. For somebody, if you don't realize that and someone tells you that, it's like not a light bulb, the whole room has light now. And so that's value. I mean, they charge us for the light bill. It's value. Light's important so you can see. And if I help you see, that costs me time. That, again, in business, you only have so much time in a day. So that's my take on it. And again, I'm a giver and I'm a helper just like you. So it was a hard thing to come to, but it makes sense. And when I look at the fact, it's not that I'm jumping ship on helping people. It's just who I decide to help. I'm helping on the business side, people that have decided that they want to partner with me. And I just think that's fair to them and myself.
Good point. Good point. Hey gals, if you love what you're hearing and you want to get more involved, because trust me, I love Go Getter Gals. I'm obsessed with it. If you love this podcast as much as we do, all you have to do is go on our Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, and we're under Go-Getter Gals. We are going to have all of our episodes on the podcast link on our website at go-gettergals.com. Thank you for allowing me to interrupt for just a second. We look forward to continuing to help you grow. Without further ado, here's the Go Getter Gals podcast. All right, so 2 more questions.
Okay.
What keeps you motivated when things get tough?
My Go Getter Gals. At a ribbon cutting, or Pam rolling down my timeline because she's done another talk somewhere. And it's like, girl, you better get going. So it's my tribe. And sometimes directly, just a text or a call or say, hey, girl, I'm just checking on you, or I haven't seen you, or I look forward to seeing you Thursday. Or indirectly, just seeing you do you on social media. Be who you are, which is a go-getter gal. And it's, and it's the other ladies that are with us too. That's what keeps me motivated. Of course, responsibilities to keep you going too. But what keeps me not to do it in the fashion that you actually started, which was with passion, because you love to do what you do. Because it's just, some days you're tired, or some days, most entrepreneurs are self-starters. Otherwise, I don't think they last very long. So every now and then you need to jump off.
Right?
And every now and then the Ferrari needs to jump off.
The morale, the energy.
That's right. That's right. It does.
I love that. I did not expect that answer. That made me so excited because I
No,
totally agree.
It really does. When I skim my mind, and hands down, without having to think, I thought longer about my childhood, story than I had to think about that. That's seriously the difference that being a part of Go Getter Gals has done for me, personally, but and in business. I've never been a part of a women's group before now. I mean, literally, it's been the catalyst that keeps me going. I'm not even of course, I like my gender, but I've never had like a huge group of girlfriends. So just having this, and it surrounds a purpose too. I want to grow as an individual, but my first appeal was growing in business with other women that either own businesses or want to start businesses, or even staying at home. I don't care what you say. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you're running your household business, and there are a lot of things that have to be done at home too. So, hats off to women that do that, because that doesn't even stop. You don't have a clock out time at home.
No, and burnout is real.
Listen, I'm sure it is. That's why I'm stay at home.
Yes, kids, I love them to pieces. They're amazing, and best thing I ever did is being a mom. Best thing I ever did. Second best thing was starting a business. Third best, well, actually, no, second best thing was getting married, because you got to have married. So married would be first, right? Like, I got to get in the order.
Well, I mean, and the truth,
I got
that's important.
And then kids, and then business. But really, amazing experience, but it's exhausting sometimes. Just I wanted to say burden, and that's not what it is. It is raising kids in the world today, and the world in any day. Like today, it's hard because everything costs so flipping much. But if you look back in history, there's been all kinds of times where things cost so flipping much. And making sure that they're going to be okay in their future, like, is scary to me, because I'm like, okay, we got to have two houses, so each one of them have a house that we pass down to them. We have to have, like, I'm like making this, like, we have one house fully paid for, and now I'm like, okay, now we got to get another one, and I want my dream home, but at the same time, it's like, gosh, one of my kids maybe they can't afford a dream home mortgage, you know what I mean? So it's like, now I'm thinking, okay, I need to get another fixer upper, live in that for a little while, and then get my dream home, is what I'm thinking we're going to do, because it's just the responsibility falls on you when you have a kid to make sure that they, make it at least to 18. And then even then it goes way past that, because you need to make sure that you're that support for them if they need it. Of course, some kids don't want it and they're off on their own. I was one of those. I learned very quickly that you need your mama and your daddy forever. But yeah, it's just, I'm thinking way ahead of time of just making sure my grandkids, because it's not just even my kids now. Like, I have to set my kids up for success, so my grandkids are set up for success, and my great grandkids. It's just it's stressful.
It is when you consider it all. What I try to do, because we can. I'm like, all right, let me bring it back now. And then me in contrast, right? So more is more. Even though, and this is the part about your weight that you carry in business and even at home. More is more. Having more clients means more work, right? But it means your business grows. So it's like, I want my business to grow, but I can't complain about having more clients because that's how it grows. Even
Right.
at home, it seems like a lot. And this is actually just to encourage you, but I have caught myself whining more times than not here lately about not having support at home. And that's the feminine side of me. I show up and I do my thing and I enjoy what I do, and I know I'm good at it. But then when I go home, right? I know, little miss, she pops in. I don't have anybody that'll do that. Now, I say that with respect to my daughter's 21 now, right? But, sometimes it may seem like work and you may be having the hardest time. But if your daughter or your son just walks in there and just gives you a big hug out the blue, that's something that I don't have at home. And even though they're a little person, it does something where you might need a hug. You know what I mean? And even just somebody to hear your woes, even if they don't understand, as long as they can let you get it out, that's support for you outside of your business, even though it's work. It's still work, right? So I can't remember where I heard this. It might have been at church, but more is more of everything. So if I have a child, there's more responsibilities, more money, more thoughts about futures. Or I just had to consider, a 21-year-old. It's like, whoo, we got her there, but now, those kinds of things. It's more, but you also get more love. You got more support than not having that, and that makes up for it. But I worked for doctors for 17 years, and I had one who was hilarious. He tell me, he said, "Miss Sharonica, I'm just telling you, kids, that's the gift that keeps on taking." And his son, he had two boys, and they were in their 30s when he said this to me. Meanwhile, I was about 2 years older than them, and I thought, I wish somebody tell my parents that. But it's true, But he still called them a gift. But they need, but when the wife was gone working and doing things, the boys, they always called and checked on their dad. I never heard boys call as often as his sons did to check on them. So I always took note of that. So just, it's work, but just everything's work. Everything's work. But the return that you're getting in return, hold on to that. And I know, I'm like, yeah, I'm on the outside. That's because, everybody's about, I don't have, right? So I can speak on it that way. But if I had it, I'm sure that story would be a little bit different. It might be a little bit different. But
Yeah, I get
so
it.
that's a good thought.
Well, let's go ahead and ask the last question. This one's a real good one. What do you define as your legacy? What does legacy mean to you?
Legacy to me, because I'm a giver, I think because I'm a giver, but the way that I just don't feel what's the word, satisfied or satisfaction if I'm not making a difference for better wherever I am. whether it's dealing with a person one-on-one, or if I've been invited to join a group, especially in leadership, or if someone's asked me to join a board, I always want to add value to where I am. I think the worst thing for me would be to be a part of something or someone's life and it not be any different if I wasn't there. I want to be missed. And so the only way you're missed is if you have a significant impact on a thing. And that a lot of times outlives you. It does. It outlives you. And you hear people talk, that's why some of the stuff we talk about our grandparents or certain things that people did, it outlived them. And that to me, and it doesn't, my child is a legacy, as far as a person, but even just being a person, it's not enough. People can have not so nice things to say about you. You're a person, but it's how you make people feel, and what impact, what impact you actually have. So I just want to have impact so that I know I'm doing something worthwhile. Money comes and money goes. As expensive as things are, and we want to have it, when we get it, it's like, dang, where did that go so fast? But a feeling or an experience, especially that someone selflessly gave to you, like they weren't obligated, or you went a little further than you had to for somebody, or somebody did that for you, you remember that, and that's legacy to me.
Ooh, that's good. I hadn't heard that one yet. That's good.
I'm going all deep.
I know.
It's true. It's true.
That's what this is all about. Just raw and real. And as Brene Brown says, vulnerable.
That's right. It really is. That's how I really feel. And yeah, I'm a straight shooter. I don't like to, I don't like a whole lot of fluff. I understand that some people can't take everything, but I don't, I'd rather be able to be transparent if I'm going to be anything. And, the other thing is your business always seems to find you out anyway. So it's better to just be open. And then there's less to talk about that people already didn't know. And it gives you room for someone else to be able to express themselves freely. Because I think that's a lot of our issues where people in mental health, you don't feel like you have a safe space to talk or express how you're feeling. And so you suppress it, and then that turns into depression and bad thoughts and all that kind of stuff. And it may be too because I live alone, and I'm like, I talk to myself all the time. and I'm free to, talk to other people because I just know it's not, I want to get it out. Because I also know that I'm not the only one, and I just don't ever want to pride myself, and I don't want people to hold me to a pedestal to think I'm perfect. Because I know sometimes what we do for a living makes us look like we're just soaring away, and we don't have a trip up or a hang up of anything, or we just happy all the time. We don't ever cry. I pick at you, but I cry too.
All the time. Yeah. I don't even care anymore.
So I mean, I know we laugh, but what made me even able or free to share that is because you let that vulnerable side of you show. And then I'm not talking about sad tears. Usually your tears are overwhelming joy and gratefulness about, people doing things or people feeling that they got something, or feel more empowered from what you're trying to build, which is a space for it. So no, right. It's working for me.
Yay! Well, I love you so much, lovely lady. And thank you so much for being a guest on this podcast. And I can't wait to chop this up and make all the fun little nuggets. This is going to be so good. So good.
Hey, gals. Thank you for listening to the Go Getter Gal podcast. All of the information for this episode can be found in the show notes. Make sure that you go and like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, as well as subscribe to us on YouTube. And to find the latest episodes of the Go Getter Gal podcast, you can visit our website at go-gettergals.com. See you next time.